Aloha, and welcome to Hawaii Travel Made Easy. I'm Marcie, your go-to guide for planning a stress-free, unforgettable Hawaii vacation. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I've been to Hawaii more than 40 times, and I'm here to make sure your trip is as smooth and amazing as possible. Today, we're diving into how to visit Pearl Harbor on Oahu, one of the most important and moving historical sites in Hawaii. Whether you're a history buff or just want to understand more about this pivotal moment in World War II, visiting Pearl Harbor is an experience you don't want to miss. I'll cover everything you need to know before you go: how to reserve tickets, the different sites within Pearl Harbor, how to get there, whether or not you should book a tour, how much time to plan for, and even how to do a day trip from another island. Plus, I'll share the biggest mistakes tourists make when visiting Pearl Harbor and how you can avoid them. So grab a notepad or just sit back and relax, and let's get into planning your perfect Pearl Harbor visit. All right, first things first. If visiting Pearl Harbor is on your list, and honestly it should be, then you'll definitely want to see the USS Arizona Memorial. But here's the deal. You absolutely 100% need to reserve your tickets in advance if you want to guarantee your spot. The USS Arizona Memorial program is free, which is amazing, but because it's so popular, they use an online reservation system to help manage the crowds. You'll book your tickets through recreation.gov, and this is where it gets a little tricky. So let me break it down. Tickets are released in two waves. The first batch comes out 8 weeks in advance, so 56 days before your visit, at exactly 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Then, there's a second chance. A small number of next day tickets are released 24 hours before your desired date, again at 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So, if you're a planner, go for the 8-week release window and set an alarm on your phone. I recommend logging in a few minutes early, being ready to click fast, and having your date in mind. These tickets go fast, like Taylor Swift concert fast, especially during school breaks, holidays, or summer. There is a $1 reservation fee per ticket, which is a small price to pay for securing your visit. And trust me, it's totally worth it. My pro tip is if you miss both ticket releases, there is a standby option, but I'll be honest, it's hit or miss. Some days you might get lucky and slide in if somebody cancels or no-shows, but during busy times, not likely. So don't count on standby if this is something really important to your group. Another thing to note is that each person needs their own ticket, including kids, even though it's free. So if you're traveling with your family, make sure to reserve the correct number of tickets for everyone. Once you get your reservation, you'll receive a confirmation email with a QR code. Make sure to screenshot it or print it out because cell service and Wi-Fi can be spotty at the visitor center, and the last thing you want is to fumble with your phone and hold up the line. The entire program takes about 75 minutes, which includes a short documentary, a boat ride to and from the memorial, and time to quietly reflect at the site. It's a powerful, moving experience that really brings the history of Pearl Harbor to life. And one last thing, don't be late. You'll want to arrive at least 30 minutes before your scheduled program time to check in and go through security. If you miss your slot, they won't be able to squeeze you into another one, and you'll lose your chance to visit the memorial that day. So, bottom line, book early, show up on time, and treat your visit like a meaningful experience. It's not just another tourist attraction, it's a place of remembrance, and getting there stress-free helps you truly take it all in. So, here's something a lot of first-time visitors don't realize. Pearl Harbor is so much more than just the USS Arizona Memorial. While the memorial is definitely the emotional heart of the site, there are 3 other incredible attractions that give you a much fuller understanding of the events surrounding World War II and beyond. Let's start with my favorite, which is the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, which is located on Ford Island. This place is a total must for aviation buffs, or honestly, anyone who loves cool planes and compelling stories. It's home to actual aircraft that flew during World War II, including some that were damaged during the attack on Pearl Harbor. There's even a control tower that was operational during the attack, and they've restored it so you can tour the top and take in the same view air traffic controllers had in 1941. It is a really powerful way to see history come to life. Next up is the USS Battleship Missouri Memorial, affectionately known as the Mighty Mo. This massive battleship is famous for being the site where Japan formally surrendered to the Allies, effectively ending World War II. You can actually stand on the exact spot where the surrender documents were signed. It gives you chills. Walking around the ship is such a unique experience. You'll see everything from the enormous guns on deck to the tight living quarters below. And you'll get to imagine what life was like for the sailors who served aboard this floating fortress. Then, there's the Pacific Fleet Submarine Museum, which is home to the USS Bowfin, nicknamed the Pearl Harbor Avenger. This museum gives you a fascinating peek into what it was like to live and serve on a submarine during World War II. And I'm telling you, those quarters are tight. If you're even a little claustrophobic, just be warned. But it's super cool to explore the control room, the torpedo bays, and even the mess hall. Kids especially love it because it feels like a real-life adventure movie. Now, when it comes to tickets, you have two options. You can purchase individual tickets for each site, or you can grab the Passport to Pearl Harbor Pass. This passport gives you admission to the Aviation Museum, the Missouri, and the Submarine Museum. It's valid over 2 days, so you don't have to cram everything into a single afternoon. It's a great value and super convenient. Just remember, it does not include access to the USS Arizona Memorial. You'll still need to book that separately through recreation.gov. My pro tip is even if you don't have time for all 3 of the additional sites, I highly recommend visiting at least 1 or 2. The Arizona Memorial is powerful on its own, but pairing it with a visit to the Battleship Missouri or the Aviation Museum adds so much context and really deepens your understanding of the war and its aftermath. And here's the thing. These experiences are not just for history lovers. They're incredibly moving, often interactive, and they spark great conversations whether you're traveling solo, as a couple, with kids, or in a multi-generational group. There's something really special about walking through these preserved pieces of history and realizing you're standing in the exact spot where history changed the world. So don't rush through Pearl Harbor. If you can, give yourself several hours or even a full day to explore. Each of these sites adds another layer to the story and makes your visit so much more memorable. All right, now let's talk logistics. How do you actually get to Pearl Harbor from Waikiki? The good news is there are a few solid options depending on your travel style, budget, and how much time you have. Let's start with driving. If you've rented a car, then the drive from Waikiki to Pearl Harbor takes about 45 minutes, give or take, depending on traffic. And yes, traffic in Honolulu is very real, especially during the morning rush hour, so give yourself a buffer. There's parking available on site for a small fee. The earlier you arrive, the better chance you have of grabbing a good spot. My pro tip is to try to get there before 8 a.m. if you can. Not only will you snag better parking, but you'll also beat the tour bus crowds and the midday heat. Win-win. If you're not driving, no problem. The Honolulu City Bus is a super budget-friendly option. Buses number 20 and 42 will take you from Waikiki to the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center in about an hour. It's not the fastest route, but it's dependable and only a couple of bucks each way. Just make sure to check the schedule ahead of time and bring exact change or a holo card. Now, if you're someone who prefers convenience over navigation, consider booking a shuttle or a guided tour. Many tour companies offer round-trip transportation from Waikiki hotels, often bundled with tickets to Pearl Harbor's main attractions. This is a great option if you want to skip the stress of planning and let someone else handle the details. Some visitors even opt to take a rideshare, like Uber or Lyft, which can work well for small groups. But just know prices can vary depending on the time of day and availability, especially during peak hours. And if you're planning to explore multiple sites at Pearl Harbor, tours can be really helpful. They'll usually keep you on schedule and make sure you don't miss anything important, which is especially helpful if you're tight on time. So bottom line, choose a transportation option that fits your comfort level and how much flexibility you want. Just don't leave it to the last minute. Pearl Harbor deserves a little planning, and getting there smoothly makes the whole experience that much better. Now, if you're staying on another island, like Maui, Kauai, or the Big Island, you can still visit Pearl Harbor as a day trip, and it's actually pretty doable with a little planning. What most people do is book an early morning inter-island flight into Honolulu, usually arriving around 7 or 8 a.m., and then catch an evening flight back after 6 p.m. This gives you plenty of time to explore Pearl Harbor without feeling rushed, especially if you're mainly focusing on the USS Arizona Memorial and 1 or 2 other sites. Some folks book everything separately, flight, transportation, and tickets. But honestly, one of the easiest ways to do this is to book a guided day tour. These tours are designed specifically for inter-island travelers. They typically include round-trip airfare, airport pickup and drop-off, and admission to all the key Pearl Harbor attractions, sometimes even a stop at Waikiki or Iolani Palace if time allows. My pro tip is if you go this route, double check your flight times and allow a little buffer, just in case anything runs long. And bring a small carry-on or personal item. Remember, no bags are allowed at the memorial. Visiting Pearl Harbor from another island is an amazing way to add depth and meaning to your Hawaii trip, even if you're not staying on Oahu. It's a long day, but one that people often say was the most memorable of their entire vacation. Okay, so here's a big question I get all the time. Should I book a tour to Pearl Harbor or just do it on my own? And honestly, the answer depends on your travel style, your comfort level with planning, and how much time you have. We've done it both ways. Let's start with guided tours. These are super popular, especially for first-time visitors or those who don't want to stress over logistics. Most guided tours include round-trip transportation from your hotel, entry to several Pearl Harbor sites, and often a guide who gives helpful background information along the way. If you love structure and want someone to handle all the details, this is the way to go. You hop on a bus, everything is scheduled for you, and you can just sit back and enjoy the experience. Guides often share personal stories or local insights to give extra meaning to your visit, especially if you're a history buff or traveling with someone who wants a full educational experience. Some tours even bundle in other stops, like the Punch Bowl National Cemetery or downtown Honolulu, making it a full-day historical tour. That said, self-guided visits are awesome for travelers who like a little more freedom. You can choose exactly which sites you want to visit, spend more time at the places that really interest you, and skip the ones that don't. You're on your own schedule, no waiting around for a group or rushing through an exhibit because it's time to move on. This is especially great for families with young kids who might need snack breaks, nap time, or wiggle room in the day. It's also perfect if you've been to Pearl Harbor before and just want to revisit one or two places. Of course, doing it yourself means you'll need to book your own tickets, figure out transportation, and keep track of timing, especially for the USS Arizona Memorial. But if you're comfortable with that, it's totally doable. My pro tip is if you're visiting from another island, definitely consider a guided day trip tour. These are designed specifically for inter-island travelers and include flights, transportation, and admission to the key sites. It is the most stress-free way to see Pearl Harbor in one day without having to piece it all together yourself. Another thing to think about is how much walking or standing your group is up for. Tours usually follow a set route and pace, while going at your own allows for more breaks or adjustments if someone gets tired or needs a rest. So, bottom line, if you love having everything handled for you, go with a tour. If you want time to explore at your own pace and customize your experience, go self-guided. Either way, you'll walk away with a deeper appreciation for this powerful historic site. So, let's talk about timing. How much time should you actually plan to spend at Pearl Harbor? This is one of those questions that really depends on how deep you want to dive into the experience. If you're just visiting the USS Arizona Memorial, you want to block off at least 2 to 3 hours. This gives you enough time to go through the security line, check out the visitor center exhibits, watch the short documentary film, take the boat ride out to the memorial, and have a few quiet moments to reflect. But if you want to see everything Pearl Harbor has to offer, like the Battleship Missouri, the Pacific Fleet Submarine Museum, and the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, you'll want to set aside a good 6 to 8 hours, maybe even more. It's totally doable in one day, especially if you start early, but be prepared for a full, emotionally rich day of exploring and learning. And I'm just going to say it, this isn't the kind of place you want to rush through. Each site tells a different part of the story, and giving yourself time to absorb it all really makes a difference. There are places to grab food on site, like a snack shop and a small cafe, but you can also bring your own water and some small snacks. Just remember, no bags are allowed, so you'll need to carry things in your hands or pockets or use a storage facility. My pro tip is to wear comfortable shoes, bring a refillable water bottle, wear sunscreen and a hat, and try to go earlier in the day before it gets too hot and crowded. The memorials and museums are mostly outdoors or only partially covered, so you'll be in the sun quite a bit. If you're visiting with kids or older family members, plan to take breaks. There are shaded benches and places to sit, but they can fill up quickly, so pacing yourself is key. So the bottom line, whether you're doing a short visit or going all in, make sure to give yourself enough time to fully experience it. It's not just another tourist stop, it's a place of reflection, history, and deep significance. Let it soak in. All right, let's talk about what not to do, because I've seen a lot of tourists make the same mistakes when visiting Pearl Harbor, and trust me, a little prep goes a long way in making your experience smoother and more meaningful. First up, not booking USS Arizona Memorial tickets in advance. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Those free tickets go fast, and there's nothing worse than showing up only to find out that the day's reservations are fully booked. Don't leave it to chance. Reserve your spot ahead of time at recreation.gov and set a reminder for that 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time ticket release. Mistake number 2, arriving late and missing your tour. This one breaks my heart a little because the USS Arizona program runs on a tight schedule. If you're even a few minutes late, they may not be able to fit you into another group. Always plan to be there at least 30 minutes early to check in, go through security, and get settled. Next, bringing bags or backpacks. This catches a lot of people off guard. For security reasons, bags are not allowed inside the memorial, and that includes purses, camera bags, or even diaper bags. You can rent a locker at the visitor center for $7 per bag or $10 for oversized items. But honestly, it's easier to pack light. Bring only what you can carry in your hands or pockets. Think phone, wallet, water bottle, and maybe a travel-size sunscreen. Another mistake? Underestimating how much time you'll need. Some people think they can pop in, see the memorial, and be on their way in an hour. But if you want to fully experience everything, the Arizona, the Missouri, the Bowfin, and the Aviation Museum, you'll need a solid 6 to 8 hours. It's a full day outing, but it's absolutely worth it. Now, let's talk about something really important: respect. Pearl Harbor is more than just a tourist site. It's a memorial and a deeply emotional place for many. Keep voices low, especially at the memorial itself, and be mindful of others who may be there to honor loved ones or reflect in silence. And while we're on the topic of respect, dress appropriately. I know it's Hawaii and you're probably rocking flip-flops and a beach vibe, but skip the swimsuits, crop tops, or anything that might be considered disrespectful. Aim for modest, casual clothing that shows you understand the significance of where you are. Here's another thing people forget: hydration and sun protection. Much of the visitor center and the outdoor exhibits are uncovered and it gets hot. Bring a water bottle, wear sunscreen, and throw on a hat if you have one. You'll be glad you did. Oh, and don't forget to check traffic before you go. Honolulu traffic can be unpredictable, and being late for your time ticket is just not something you want to risk. Leave early, even if you're taking a shuttle or tour, just to be safe. Lastly, some people breeze through all the exhibits at the visitor center without realizing how informative and moving they are. Don't skip them. They provide important context and really set the tone for what you're about to see at the memorial and beyond. My pro tip is to treat Pearl Harbor like a sacred site, because it is. It's not just a stop on your sightseeing list, it's a place of remembrance, and showing respect through your actions, dress, and demeanor helps preserve its meaning for everyone who visits. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few extra tips and reminders to help you have the best and most respectful experience possible when visiting Pearl Harbor. These are the things that often get overlooked, but can make a difference in how smoothly your day goes. Number 1, let's talk hours. The Pearl Harbor Visitor Center is open daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., which gives you a pretty big window to explore. But heads up, it's closed on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day, so definitely plan around those holidays if you'll be visiting during winter break. Number 2, security is no joke. Like we talked about earlier, bags are not allowed, and that includes purses, diaper bags, camera bags, all of it. If you bring one, you'll have to store it in the paid locker area. So to save time, try to travel light and bring only what you can carry in your hands or pockets. Number 3, accessibility is well thought out here. If you or someone in your group has mobility concerns, you'll be happy to know that the visitor center, museums, and memorials are all wheelchair accessible. The site is really accommodating, which makes it easier for everyone to enjoy the experience. Number 4, cameras are welcome. You're totally allowed to take photos in most areas, and trust me, you'll want to capture some of the powerful moments. Just be mindful of signs indicating no photography, and turn off your flash indoors to protect the exhibits and avoid disturbing other visitors. Number 5, bring a snack. Seriously, there's a small cafe on site, but the options are limited and lines can get long during lunch hours. I recommend bringing a water bottle and a few small snacks, especially if you're spending the whole day there. Just remember, with the no-bag policy, you'll need to carry them in your hands or pockets. Number 6, check for special programs. The Visitor Center sometimes offers educational talks or presentations throughout the day, which are a great way to go deeper into the history. You can ask the front desk or check the posted schedule when you arrive. Number 7, and finally, just be respectful. I know I've said it before, but it's totally worth repeating. Pearl Harbor is a memorial. It's not the place for loud conversations, silly selfies, or beachwear. Dress modestly, speak softly, and take a moment to really reflect on where you are. It's an emotional place for many visitors, and showing respect honors the memory of those who are lost. These small touches, being prepared, staying mindful, and showing respect, go a long way in making your visit to Pearl Harbor meaningful and memorable. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode. Hopefully, you now have a step-by-step plan for visiting Pearl Harbor, and you won't make any of the common tourist mistakes. To recap, book your USS Arizona tickets early. Plan to visit at least one other site while you're there. Get there early and dress appropriately. Decide if you want a tour or prefer doing it on your own. And be respectful. Pearl Harbor is more than just an attraction, it's a place of remembrance. I'd love to hear from you. Have you visited Pearl Harbor before? What was your experience like? Send me a DM on Instagram at Hawaii Travel with Kids, or check out my blog for even more detailed Pearl Harbor travel tips. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and leave a review. Mahalo for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Aloha.